Well, hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is EJ Marino and today we are diving into a brand new review of the film The Craft Legacy. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna have to issue a small apology to this movie after judging it pretty hard on that first trailer. I think we were all kind of nervous to see what the hell they could do with a new Craft movie, and we were kind of judgy on it, and I will say now after watching it, I kind of enjoyed the movie. Some of my issues from the trailer are still there. I think that magic looks a little hokey pokey, cheesy wheezy, and I'm not in love with it, but that's kind of one of my only major complaints. The villain, we'll talk about the villain at the end, but overall, I just really walked away from this being like, that was a good, decent update of a story I think a lot of us were nervous about, a lot of us were excited about as well. This was something that a lot of weird goth, angsty, LGBTQ kids, I don't know, there's a whole big group that really likes The Craft. It is called a cult classic for a reason. I wouldn't think this would be a cult classic in a couple years. This seems like a pretty average kind of teen horror, you know, it seems a little teen that it feels like it would fit in more than The Craft felt like an outsider film, but still, there's a lot in this movie that I really enjoyed. Now, what really makes this movie work is the four women at the center of this story. Each one of them offers something up. Each one of them has their own personality. I swore that they were all going to be like replacing people. I saw the character tab and I was like, oh my god, they're just going to make her the Rochelle. Who's the Nancy? Where's the Sarah? I was kind of nervous for that, but each one of them plays their own character. We have Kaylee Spaney as Lily, Lovey Simone as Tabby, Zoe Luna as Lourdes, and Gideon Alden as Frankie. Each one of them gives me something. Personally, Zoe Luna stuck out to me because she is a trans actress playing a trans character. We have a trans character in high school in this, and that is so amazing. As young EJ would have never thought we would have had a trans character, and it's not like we have a trans character, here it is. She's just there, she exists. Even her first line's just like, you know, trans girls have magic, and I'm like, they do. You're your own amazing, special, unique human, and I loved that. I thought that was such a, it just kind of was added in there. It wasn't like here's my coming out party. It was refreshing. I also really loved Lovey Simone as Tabby. She was so cute, she had so much energy, so much personality to her that I really enjoyed her as well. And we have Lily, who is our main girl. She does a really good job holding this film down. A lot of the story and a lot of the emotion, a lot of the action revolves around her character, and she does a good job with handling it, all of it. The acting is very surprising. I was kind of expecting more like cheesy teen movie acting, and no, the acting was fairly strong. It offered a lot. I understood each one of the stories, each one of the vibes. Every time there was a line, even when it was some cringy kind of like extra woke kind of line, I was just like, oh, here it is. Oh, that wasn't as bad as it could be. Or they were kind of making fun of the over-wokeness of some moments. I actually was surprised how these girls were handled and how their stories were handled and how it was told, and that it wasn't a complete rehash of the original. Now that's what I really do enjoy, that this felt like its own original thing. There are some beats that it repeats that it feels like, oh, okay, I know what you're doing here. Like with the Lily and Timmy character, I think there is something that reminds me of the Sarah and Chris storyline from the original, but instead of a little puppy following her around, he's kind of this extra woke, very annoyingly like, well, yeah, Princess Nokia really does offer some great stuff in her music, and I'm like, oh my god. I thought that was a interesting update. This film does a lot of updates of what we know from the original and what we know in just teen movies in general, and actually places it in this 2020 world pretty effortlessly. I thought it was kind of impressed that it wasn't like, and now here's them talking about cell phones. I just don't know. Maybe it's because the director, she is a little bit younger as well. I don't know. There was something that was very interesting to see that this update, and I'm just happy it wasn't like beat by beat repeating like, and here's the part where we see like Nancy's like crazy backstory, and here's where like, oh, here's her scars. Like, I just was really happy to see that they weren't they were doing their own thing. They paid respects to the original. There is some connections to the original film. That word legacy is used for a reason. There is connections. Maybe someone is related to somebody from the original. You never know. But I think they did a very good job of trying to say this is the craft, but it is a new version for a new generation. You may not get it. I'm an older guy now. I'm starting to be like, I don't really understand teen world, but they still made me feel invited and welcomed in. It's kind of like when you watch stuff from the 90s and you're like, this isn't accessible to people who are nowadays, but I thought the craft was. This does a similar thing where fans of the 90s craft can go into this movie going, I get it, maybe not for me, but I understand and I kind of enjoy it. Honestly, one of my only complaints of the movie is sometimes the villainy stuff gets a little annoying. In the original, there was never a distinct one person is the villain. It was just the power was consuming them. The way, like, we had to make sure no one hurt anybody with their powers because, of course, you want revenge. Of course, you want to make things correct for you, but sometimes that's not the power we should have. Here, we have a evil man that's a bad guy. Shocking, and I'm not going to say who it is, but if you have eyes and ears and have watched a movie before, the movie yells at you who the villain is. It's really, really obvious. But other than that, I was just like, okay, that's okay. I like what's happening, and here's the villain stuff. And there was a little bit of a layer of bullying message, which is very relevant nowadays. But I thought we were going to go way more into the Me Too, into the Time's Up movement kind of stuff, where the original even touched on it a little bit. Here, there was a little bit of a bullying vibe. There's some light slut shaming, and I think there was stuff there that they talked about, but I was really kind of confused to be like, and here is the man, he is the villain, and I'm like, sure, great, okay, that's my only major complaint is the shift of the villainousness. I wanted it to be more interpersonal drama with the girls, with them trying to figure out what to do with these powers, instead of here is the evil force that's looming. My only major complaint. And some of the CG. The CG's not great as well, but fine. I won't complain about it too much. You heard me enough about it, and I complained about it enough in the trailer reaction, so I'm just going to bring it up lightly here. CG and the villain are kind of the only real weak spots for me. The Craft Legacy is a cute film that does exactly what it needs to do. It introduces the craft to a new generation, but still makes it welcoming to someone like me who loves the original. I had a decent time with this movie. I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm not going to say it's actually really even all that amazingly made, but it just did what it needed to do, and I enjoyed it. I hope you guys do too. This comes with a light recommendation. I would say watch it. Don't expect the world to change after, but it's a good time. What did you guys think of this review? What do you think of the Craft Legacy? Let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel if you did enjoy this video, and give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy this as well. Oh, if you are going to comment down below, try not to spoil this for anyone. If you do, like, make it known you're about to spoil, because I don't want anyone to go through the comments and be like, oh man, that's the villain. Obvious, but yes. Anyways, alright guys, comment down below. Let's talk about the Craft Legacy.